Premier League primetime on tape. Jose, Cyrus, and Andre. And you know that Dave I don't play. In the field, they can talk about it all day. Look, and we moving up. You can try all you want, can't move like us. When it all comes down, they choosing us. And I do gotta say we don't give a fuck. Premier League primetime, and it's only that. Speak only facts. Say what I want, can't hold me back. Can't hold me back. Premier League primetime, better yet, it's my time. You stay on the sideline. Say what I want, can't hold me back. Premier League primetime.
Hello and welcome back to Premier League Primetime Season 2, Episode 6. Of course, as you can see, I am back at school and I am back with the Fab Four, Jose, Sirius, and Andre. Do I even ask? Should I even ask? You know what? Yeah, I'll ask. How are you doing? How already know what's going to happen, but I'll just ask anyways. And there we have it. That pretty much told me everything. That basically just told me everything I need to know. But before we jump right into this, for those who do not know, I do want to give a re-shout and a big shout out to Mr. Huckleberry Jones, aka Huck. He is now part of the PLPT family, and we're really excited to have him. For he's going to be a really, really, really integral part of the family, especially what we do on set and off set. And we're all just extremely excited and happy to have him around. And before we also jump into the show, for some of the games that the teams have played, I mean, some of these teams have only played two or three games or something like that. So we also wanted to throw in a little cheeky bit of a January transfer preview as well to also make up for some of the teams who've only played 1, 2, 3 games over this 5-game period. And now we are ready to get right into the show, starting with Sirius, starting with Arsenal. They are 1-3, lost 1, winning 2-0 against West Ham, 4-1 against Leeds, 5-0 against Norwich. They didn't play match week 20, and they just lost to a heartbreaking 2-1 loss to Man City, which Arsenal that's probably the best I've seen them all season, to be quite honest with you. They're absolutely superb. They were just really unlucky. First off, ratings for Mikel Arteta and Arsenal.
I'd have to give us a 9. If we beat City, I would have given us a 10, but we still had a great performance against them. I think we just got unlucky.
100%.
Yeah, it's been great. I've actually loved to see it. At the start of the season, everyone was saying we're going to get relegated. We had 0 wins in 3 games. So it was awful. But we've been great. Our center back partnership, I love. Unfortunately, Gabriel did get a red, so we'll have to see if holding Dino for a game maybe. Yeah, the team's been great. Odegaard, Emil off the bench has been great, scoring every time almost. With the African Cup of Nations coming, we are going to lose Partey, so that is going to suck. But we have players that can come in. What I think is going to happen, I think Odegaard might drop back a little, and then we put ESR starting again. So I'm excited to see that.
Yeah, 100%. I definitely agree with that. Although, we all know Sagai's first or the first 3 games, that was, definitely Sagai's, favorite team, especially seeing that cheeky back three of holding Kolasinac and Callum Chambers, and of course, the world-class Granit Xhaka, who Sagai, you have to admit, Granit Xhaka, he's been putting in some decent performances over these past few games.
Yeah, but then he gave away that penalty like a dumbass. So that's what you get with Xhaka. You get good play, and then you get things like that. So, I'll give it to him. He was good the first 3 games, but can't make, the stupid tackles like that. He just blatantly pulled them down.
Yeah.
And
Andre,
can I say a couple things?
Yeah, I was about to say, yeah, you wanted to say something.
Oh, yeah. Well, first off, since we were talking about that rough period, I think we got to give some credit to Sirius because he's always stuck by Arteta through thick and thin. And we haven't. That's a good fan right there,
Definitely.
Thank you.
Also, what's your opinion? What's your stance on the Aubameyang stuff? All that nonsense.
That's a very good question, actually.
I think that we've seen that without Aubameyang, we can still play well, even better. We've been scoring goals all around. I think Lacazette, wherever he goes next season, has been a good leader for us, better leader than Aubameyang. And I do give credit to Aubameyang for what he's done for us. But I think it's time to go. I think if maybe we can get some type of swap for him, that'd be cool. But I think his time is over.
100%. And right before I ask about where Arsenal should address in January, maybe even the summer, one player I do have to mention who's just gone off on this brilliant run of form, Gabriel Martinelli.
Yeah. During the beginning of the season, people were complaining that Arteta, didn't give him any chances, but we've finally seen that he has been giving him chances, and we've seen what he can do. He has so much energy, so much passion for the game, and it's great to see. Martinelli has been great for us, and I'm hoping to see more from him in the future.
100%. And now, lastly, going into into January, right? It's very clear that Arsenal need to plug some positions on the pitch. Where should Arteta prioritize in January? And if there are specific names, who would you bring in?
Well, I think there's two positions mainly that we have to focus on. So number one is right back. We already have Thomas as a starter, but right now we really don't have a backup. I don't know if you guys heard today, Ainsley was loaned to Roma.
What about Cedric?
He can kill himself. Cedric.
You have Callum Chambers.
Same thing to him. He can be sold.
Oh, well,
we need a better option there. And we also, here's the thing. Martinelli came into Arsenal when he was younger. Like right when he came in, he started playing striker. Now he's been moved to left wing. So I don't know. I feel like we might need another striker. I feel like if we do sell Aubameyang, we can get another striker. Lacazette. I think this is Lacazette's last season at Arsenal.
You have the world-class Eddie Nketiah on the bench. Call me, top scorer of the Carabao Cup.
Nope. I think we need someone a little better, to be honest.
And looking at some of the names, but right before I go to Andre and Aston Villa, and for me, I've heard in terms of the striker names, whether it's this January or the summer, right? I'd say there are three names in terms of just who Arsenal have been most strongly linked to in terms of just rumors and paper talk. Dusan Vlahovic, Dominic Calvert-Lewin, Ollie Watkins. If you're looking at these three strikers, right, and you could get any one of them, which one of them would you bring in?
I think I'd fancy Ollie Watkins the most. He's an Arsenal fan. As a kid, I think it's his dream to play with us. I think in the beginning of the winter, we were linked to Florentina's Vlahovic. I don't know if I said that right, but that doesn't look like it's going to happen anymore. Also costly signing. So I think Ollie Watkins would be my favorite choice.
Fair enough. Yeah, Ollie Watkins is definitely a great striker. He's a phenomenal player. Definitely 100%. Lastly, you were talking about the midfield as well. Is there a particular name that you think that Arsenal should bring in to plug that position?
Well, see, the thing is, Partey's going to be gone, so I don't know if we need to. We also, not to mention the GOAT El Neni is going to be gone.
No, not El Neni.
Yeah.
Bring back Ceballos.
Don't do that. I think that someone. I don't know if you. What? Oh, I don't know if you guys agree with it or not. I'd take Renato Sanchez. I think we've been linked to him. Yeah, I feel like maybe he hasn't been what people expected coming out of that Euros to 2016, but I feel like he still has a bright future for us.
Definitely 100%. Renato Sanchez is a great player. And the last player I just did want to mention before I actually go to Aston Villa, Gini Wijnaldum. Apparently he's been linked with Arsenal in terms of going out on loan. Would you take him?
Yeah, for sure. I'd definitely take him. He's a great player. I don't think he'll come to us, but the things he's done, we've seen what he did against Barcelona in the Champions League. He's a quality player, and he's been on the big stages.
100%. I totally agree with that. Next, we have Aston Villa. And Aston Villa, looking at their past 5 games, winning 2-0 against Norwich. They didn't play match day 18. They lost 3-1 to Andre's favorite team, and Andre's opinion, the best team in the world. Didn't play match week 20, and they lost 2-1 to Brentford. Ratings for Steven Gerrard, who I think he was missing actually in the last 2 games, I'm pretty sure, due to COVID. But so nonetheless, his team, his coaching staff, ratings for Steven Gerrard and Aston Villa as a whole, bright sparks, players who aren't really cutting it. We'll start with that.
Yeah, I guess that little honeymoon period is over. I think now we're starting to see where Aston Villa are weak. I think I thought Gerrard would kind of go on like an Ole Solskjaer kind of run where he'd just go on like a streak of undefeated matches. But no, there's certainly some weak points. I don't know what I can really critique Gerrard on, but I think some of the players that Aston Villa have recruited, they haven't really lived up to a lot of their promise. You look at signings like Leon Bailey, right? I thought he'd be a more consistent starter. I thought maybe he could have sort of a Damari Gray effect, right? That kind of
I
like
just don't think
he's
he's
had
had
for
enough
Everton.
playtime though, Leon Bailey.
He struggled through some injury, but still, even when he has played, he hasn't impressed me. You have Emil Buendia, who's a player that's promised.
That's a huge one, and I'll bring Sears
Yeah.
right back into this one. Sears, in the summer, would you have paid that £40 million that Norwich were asking for Emi Buendia, keeping in mind his form, his current, his goal count at that time, his assist count at that time?
I think at the time I would have. Obviously, I was wrong now, but we were looking for someone to partner up with Partey, and I think at that time I would have said yes.
Fair enough. But there's a quality player in there. He's just not performing at the moment, is he?
He's not performing on a consistent basis. He's just been an attacking midfielder who's promising moments. I think he had an assist over the weekend. But yeah, it's just you want to demand some consistency from these players, and that's going to be the question of Gerrard, if he's able to get consistently like he did out of that Ranger side from these Aston Villa new recruitments because they have the money, or if they're just going to have to start from scratch and try to get some outgoings and get the players that maybe Gerrard actually wants and he's scouted with his own team. But yeah, Aston Villa need more structure, which is what I thought Gerrard would bring, and it's a tricky one right now. I think things should pick up before the end of the season. Like there's still a shout for top half, I think, but it's not been going great these last 5 matches. They've only won against Norwich, and that's not really an accomplishment, let's be honest. So
yeah, fair enough. Yeah. Ratings for Steven Gerrard and players that have stood out to you, positive and negative.
I think I'd Gerrard give him like a 6, maybe.
All right.
The players, I'd just go the ones that have struggled in terms of, I guess Martinez and the defense they've been average also. They haven't been what they were good at before. So I don't know. This is mid-table Aston Villa defined right now. So let's see if they can pick it up. I think they can.
Fair enough. And going into their January transfer, right? What positions do you think they need to plug? And do you have any specific names in mind that you think would be a good player or a right fit or a logical target?
I don't really know about specific names. What I can say is they have a really great midfielder in John McGinn. If you can just find someone that can just build on a chemistry with him, that'd be real. That'd do them a lot. And look at their attack line. I think Ollie Watkins he's been missing a couple of chances lately. Like they're still creating chances, but him and Danny Ings, that's still a really quality partnership. Like they should be getting goals, and hopefully it'll happen eventually. But I'd say the midfield and the wide mids also, I'd say, is where you can improve. I think there's still something to build on in their defense and attack, and obviously they have a class keeper. So yeah, I'd say midfield and wide mids is where I'd try to improve.
Fair enough. Next, we have Brentford, and Brentford. Let's look at their matches. So, of course, they didn't play match day 17. Match day 18, their fixture has been postponed to next week, actually. You'll notice with some of the teams that some of their games have been postponed to January 10th, January 11th, January 12th. around that time. Match day 19, they lost to Brighton 2-0, losing to Man City 1-0 in match week 20, and beating Aston Villa in match day 21. Jose, scores for Thomas Frank and Brentford, and players that have stood out, positive and negative. We'll start there.
Yeah, I think they've been a little unlucky. They've honestly, I'd probably give them a B. I think that they got a little unlucky against Man City. They only conceded one goal, and they kept Man City down to 3 shots on target, which I think is pretty impressive. In terms of players that have played well for them, I'd probably go with Ethan Pinnock and Christian Norgard have been really consistent for them all season. They've been good in these past few games. And in their last game especially, I wanted to point out, I don't know if I'm going to say his name right, but it's Mads Roerslev. Had a really good game and got man of the match.
Yeah.
So he played really well against Aston Villa.
Yeah, he definitely had a good game, and he scored as well.
Yeah.
Next, looking at the areas on the pitch, what areas do you think that they should strengthen in? And if you had any specific names in mind, what names are you thinking of?
Well, I honestly think that one of their bigger issues is scoring goals rather than defending. I think that they've been fairly consistent
Really?
and I think
Tony and Bomo up front.
Yeah, honestly, I think. Well, I mean, if you look at their past 2 games, they lost 1-0 to Man City. They didn't get any goals in that game, and then in their game before that, they lost 2-0 to Brighton. Didn't get any goals in that game. So I think what could be a really interesting signing for them is someone like Jamie Vardy at the end of the season if he wants to leave.
Wow.
I know. I honestly, it doesn't seem very realistic, but I think it'd be a really good signing for them.
That'd be really, really ambitious and audacious to sign Jamie Vardy.
Yeah, I definitely think so too. But I think it'd work really well for them, especially if he played up front with.
But you're saying someone like that, someone like Jamie Vardy.
Someone like Jamie Vardy or Jamie Vardy, but yeah.
Yeah, 100%. We definitely know what you're talking about there. Just more or less just a really quality experience Premier League striker who can come into the side, make a difference, score goals for fun. And that's what Jamie Vardy is. He's done it for years. He's a top striker, to be honest with you. Next, we have Brighton. And seriously, looking at their matches, losing 1-0 to Wolves match day 17, not playing in match day 18, a win against Brentford, drawing Chelsea, and just beating Everton. Scores for Graham Potter and Brighton, and players that have stood out to you, positive and negative.
Yeah, not bad at all. Pretty impressive to draw against Chelsea, I'd say. Good result for them. I think they've been pretty decent. I went against Everton as well, went against Brentford. I think that some players that have stood out for sure. I'd say McAllister scored 2 goals against Everton. Also against Chelsea, Veltman was very solid.
Yeah, Veltman was brilliant.
I'd say Cucurella has been good all season. I always mention him when I do.
You always do. Not a bad thing.
Yeah, no, and Mopai scored against Brentford, and he was also working. I have to say, even though I hate him, he worked really hard against Chelsea. Shout out to Danny Welbeck against Chelsea, but yeah, I think I'd give the manager I think an 8. It's fair.
100%. Next, of course, your favorite striker of all time, Neil Mopai. How's your rating?
He hasn't been that much of a prick since the Crystal Palace game, so not that much.
And speaking of Neil Mopai, I mean, Arsenal need a striker that can link plays, can score goals.
Nope.
Local.
Nope.
What would you do if Arteta splashed some cheeky cash on a cheeky Neil Mopai?
I'd be Arteta out.
And looking at Brighton, right? What areas on the pitch do you think should be addressed in January? And if you have any specific names, who would you be thinking of?
Obviously they have a budget. When I talk about Arsenal versus Brighton, much smaller budget. I think they've done well with their defensive options. I think maybe they could sign a goalkeeper. I watched their goalkeeper. I think it's Roberto Sanchez. I think that's his name.
Yeah, Robert Sanchez.
I might have got that wrong. Yeah. He was very shaky against Chelsea. Very, very shaky. That might be because I don't watch Brighton that much, but I watched him against Chelsea. He was very shaky. He seemed to be their only weak point in that game. So yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I definitely agree with that. And some competition for Robert Sanchez to come in. and to challenge him for that number one spot. I mean, we all saw the Ramsdale effect at Arsenal. Seemed like Leno wasn't really bound to lose that number one shirt. Leno and Ramsdale comes in, rightfully takes it away from him. So competition is it's always a good thing to have. Competition for a spot on the pitch never hurts. Next team we have, of course, Burnley. We'll just go right into match day 20 because they didn't play 17, 18, or 19. Losses to Manchester United and Leeds, both by scores of 3-1. Scores for Sean Dyche and Burnley, and players who have stood out in positive or negative way, which I'm already going to guess because it's the same old. Dwight McNeil, James Tarkowski, Maxwell Cornet.
Yeah, so they have not been very good in these past two games. I'd have to give them an F. They didn't do anything against Leeds, who I thought that they could actually beat, but they didn't beat Leeds. So it's a shame for them. If you want to pick out someone, I might go with Ben Mee. He's been below par recently, especially in the United game. In terms of areas on the pitch that they can improve on, I think that they need an actual pacey striker, not just playing some kind of winger next to Chris Wood.
100%.
Not playing like Aaron Lennon or Maxwell Cornet up there, playing them actually on the right or on the left where they actually belong, and then getting someone not Patson Daka, but some pacey striker like that.
Yeah, 100%.
I
Yeah,
think would suit them very well.
They could definitely use a pacey striker, someone a player type like Patson Daka, someone like that.
Yeah,
and I also think just a really mobile transitional central midfielder could do them well. I mean, they have Jack Brownhill and John Brownhill and Jack Cork,
Ashley Westwood.
As well. Not convinced by any of them. They just seem really old fashioned, like kind of the rugged kind of midfielders who just get the ball and they just pass it sideways and they just do the simple, no advancement of play. I just think Burnley, right? I look at Burnley and I look at other teams in the Premier League. And I'll use Apple as comparison. For me, Burnley are like iOS 6, and someone like a Manchester City is like iOS 13. Like they just really need to update the way they play.
Yeah, I could agree with that. Kind of like Atleti.
Yeah, definitely 100%. But the team that was drawn against Atleti in the Champions League, I just still have no hope for that team. Next, we have Andre's favorite team, Chelsea. Andre's ready to praise that Tuchel masterclass because they did not lose a single game, although they only won one game. Draws against Everton and Wolves, wins against Aston Villa, and draws against Brighton and Liverpool. Although I do have to say, for me, Tuchel coming out and complaining about the COVID situation. If you're any manager in the Premier League, the one who's the least amount of excuses, Pep Guardiola and Thomas Tuchel. When you look at the depth on their bench, I'll ask on your thoughts on that in a little bit, but of course we'll start with scores for your opinion on the best manager in world football and in history, and bright sparks and players who just haven't been doing as well.
This is an unbelievable selection for this team, by the way. Davis to choose me again. You say they're undefeated, but it's four draws and one win, so it's pretty fucking lame. Look, to Tuchel, I know you're saying the whole COVID thing that he shouldn't be complaining, but he has some right. He's such a consistent manager.
You called him consistent. Didn't you call him inconsistent like a few weeks ago?
Inconsistent. His results are consistent. I doubt I said that because he's consistently stupid ball playing manager. Burnley are more modern than Chelsea. Eat my asshole. Sorry, I'm cursing a lot. Look, I think. Okay. Well, look, let's just say they're out of the title race like a bit. They've certainly slowed down. I think Liverpool will do more throughout the season. Chelsea, I just even against Liverpool, they just kept the ball like so much until they finally got through. And this is what they've done to every team. They suffocate you. And it hasn't worked. They have 4 draws. Do you want to say something, Davis? Because I don't watch this team that much. I don't want to cover them. I don't know why you keep giving them.
Give a rating for Chelsea and Tuchel and players.
4. They get a 4 because they're Chelsea and they should be doing wonders in this league. And they're
What
not.
about the Lukaku situation?
I was actually just about to ask that. Yes.
Let's talk about that.
Yeah, we can talk about Luke. Let's talk about Lukaku situation.
So,
That's actually fun.
Yeah, before we talk about the Lukaku situation, I do want to just quickly explain it for the people. Everyone's probably seen it by now, but I'll just quickly explain. So, in an interview with Sky Sports Italia, Romelu Lukaku was talking about his situation at Chelsea, and he said that he's not happy with his situation at Chelsea. He said the manager has implemented a formation change, but he's going to get on with it professionally, and that he's professional, he will not give up, et cetera, et cetera. And then he started talking about how he loves Inter and he hopes to return there while he's still at the top level to hopefully return and win trophies. That must have definitely raised some eyebrows from the Chelsea supporters.
Yeah, I didn't know he said that Inter stuff. When I read the exact quotes, I just feel like it was really misinterpreted. I think he let some of his frustrations out a little bit, but it's still overall, I think he was well-meaning. Like, he just wanted to be positive.
I don't think he meant anything.
Trying. Like, he just wanted to show that he's trying, but as soon as he voiced that he was under struggle, then I think everyone overreacted a bit. I think it was hugely misinterpreted.
I agree.
It led to him being dropped for a couple matches. Liverpool was the big one that he was dropped for, unfortunately. But I don't know. I don't think it was anything that malicious by him. I don't think he's demanding a transfer or anything. I don't think it was that bad.
No, of course not. No.
What do you guys think?
And to save Andre from having to cover Chelsea anymore, for me, when we look at the areas that they need to cover in the January transfer window, for me, it has to be the wingbacks. It has to be the wingbacks.
You think so? What?
Reece James out. Marcus Alonso's are only left.
What do you mean? Reece James is in people's team of the year, though. Like, people rate Reece James so much. Marcus Alonso and Ben Chilwell are both class. I know that Marcos has been
injuries. No, it's because of injuries. Reece Chilwell's out for the season. Reece James, he's out. He's going to be out for a while.
You still have Hudson-Odoi, though. I don't know.
Yes, you do have Hudson-Odoi, but is he really a natural wingback? No.
He's unnatural at everything. He's one of the most overhyped players.
For me, if I were Tuchel, I'd look more at a left wingback than a right wingback, because you don't have a natural left wingback. You also asked by Lukaku, he could play right wingback as well. But Luca Digne looks like he wants out of Everton. I think that'd be a decent target for them. I've seen Nicolas Tagliafico of Ajax, Serginho Dest of Barcelona, all being mentioned as potential targets for Thomas Tuchel and Chelsea. I think all of them could serve a purpose. It just depends what Thomas Tuchel is looking for. I think the 3 could do a job for Chelsea. It just all depends with which kind of outside back Tuchel would want.
I think Serginho Dest would be almost like for Reece James.
100%.
I think Reece James is a better player, but I think in terms of like player type, I think Serginho Dest would work really well.
100%. I definitely agree with that.
Because Chelsea are a team with so many attacking mids, but they have Tuchel's team struggled for creativity before?
Yeah, I'd say so. In terms of
yeah,
if you Tuchel play a midfield pivot of Jorginho and Conte, where's the creativity in that?
Right above it, they play Mason Mount, Pulisic. They have all these players.
No. I'm talking about that pivot, that pivot itself.
But when you play a 3-4-3 with narrow attacking, like they're attacking mids, they're not necessarily forwards, right?
So they've got the 2 DMs, and then they have the two attacking mids who play above them, and then the 1 central striker.
Yes, I know. Yeah, no, I'm not talking about the front 3. I'm not talking about the Mason.
It's not really a front 3 though. Like it's more like a midfield.
Yeah,
four.
It's more like the Christmas tree formation.
Yeah.
That's why they're set up in terms of.
I'm saying in that central midfield pivot, of Jorginho and Conte. Where's
They've been playing Kovacic though.
well, saying that
Kovacic also works in that position. If you want to play him there, if you want to play him next to a Conte or next to a Jorginho.
I don't think their solution is as simple as putting an 8 instead of 2 6s. I don't know what it is, but it's got to be something else.
I'm not saying that's a solution. I'm just taking a look at that. That's all I'm saying.
I think what they could look for is some kind of like goal scoring winger, because instead of playing 2 cams as kind of wingers around the striker, you play one kind of goal scoring winger and then 1 cam. So it's like it's less predictable, if that makes sense.
Eden Hazard question mark.
I mean, hopefully, I'd like him to leave Real Madrid. So,
Pretty cool.
Fair enough. Next, we have Crystal Palace, and Sears, over to you. Looking at Crystal Palace, right? Let's see. They drew against Southampton. They didn't play match day 18. Losses to Sagai's favorite club in match day 19. A win against Norwich and a 3-2 loss against West Ham. Sears, scores for Vieira and Palace, and players that have stood out, positive and negative. Fan.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes. Fantastic.
Yeah, so it hasn't been great the last couple of games for Crystal Palace. I'm gonna criticize one player. I think it'd have to be Wilfried Zaha. I think he's such a talented player, but I think he has to keep his head. You see him so many times get a red card, so many times do stupid actions. I think he's so much talent in the world. He's all the talent he has, and I just don't think he's been performing well. They've conceded, a decent amount of goals. I mean, I don't know how you concede 3 to Tottenham and not even score 1 against them. Conceded 3 against West Ham. Defense needs to shape up. At least they won in Norwich, but my nan could win the Norwich. So,
100%. Players that have stood out to you.
Player that stood out to me. He's 2 goals in the last 3 games. Edouard. He's been good. Besides that, overall, it just hasn't been great.
100%. In terms of the transfer window, if you want to see what one might think about what Palace would need in the transfer window, go check out and watch the video of myself and Rich talk about what Crystal Palace could potentially do in January and the summer. But just a quick thing for Crystal Palace's transfer action, right? Let's look at Conor Gallagher, right? He's on loan from Chelsea. If you're Crystal Palace, if you're Vieira and C. Parrish and whatnot, how much money would you be willing to stump up to pay to sign Conor Gallagher on a permanent basis?
I'd go as what Chelsea asked for, to be honest. As long as it's not too much, because they need him.
Let's say 40 to 50 million.
Yeah, I'd do it.
All right, fair enough. Next, we have Everton, and they only played 2 games. Played in match day 17 where they drew Chelsea, and then in match day 21 where they lost 3-2 to Brighton. Scores for Rafa and Everton, and players have stood out to you, positive and negative.
Yeah, Everton have been a bit of a weird one this season. I think that they really have a team that should be competing high in the table, and they have a manager that can do the same. But I think that they're just kind of focusing on the wrong areas right now. I think if they're playing a 5 at the back with 4 midfielders and 1 striker, and I think that they need to focus more on their midfield, because they have quality in that midfield, and they have players who can provide some kind of organization that haven't been doing that before. So I think that if they focus more on their midfield, maybe play some kind of 4-2-3-1 or something like that, they'll end up playing a lot better.
I think Everton need a winger, to be honest with you. I just think,
yeah, I could agree,
because I saw they were playing John Joe Kenny there against Brighton. I mean, they have the personnel right now to play 5 at the back. I think as of right now, in terms of what they have, they should go with the back 5, honestly, because they don't have the personnel to go with the back 4 and play in their attack. They have more defense and attack. And I saw they just signed Nathan Patterson from Rangers. I think that's a right back. So yeah. There's another one for you. And they signed that left back as well. I think that's a Luca Digne replacement. But I mean, for me personally, What would you give Rafa and Everton?
Probably like a D.
Fair enough. Bright sparks, players who have not been cutting it.
You could say that the what's his name? Branthwaite. Branthwaite's been good. And then the other one, I don't remember her name. Gordon. Gordon scored 2
Yeah.
goals in their loss.
Gordon's talented. Gordon's
Yeah,
really
he
good.
is. I completely
Talented
agree.
youngster, very talented.
It's like I think of like it's Gordon. It's Anthony Gordon and then the guy for Gelhart from Leeds. They're both they could be really significant players in the future.
Mhm.
Like just like Andre's favorite youngster, Bukayo Saka. And next, sticking with Andre, actually sticking with Leeds. Surprise! I'm most ironically actually talking about Gelhart.
Yeah.
But taking a look at Leeds, they got pumped 7-0 by Manchester City, losing 4-1 to Arsenal, didn't play in match day 19 or 20, and winning 3-1 against Burnley. Scores for Bielsa and Leeds, and players who have been good and players who have not been so great.
I mean, they've gotten a huge sigh of relief now that they've finally gotten a win against Burnley. Had they not gotten that win, we'd probably be all over them right now. I think they still deserve like a 3. They've been struggling. I think I know their attack it's still not bad. I still think they have players that are doing their bits, even though they're missing what's his name? Bamford.
They're missing
Ashford
Tom as well.
Yeah, they're missing both. I think Leeds are a team that if they have the money, if they could just get some reinforcements in January, then we could totally see them complete like just a turnaround for this club because they've been woeful this season.
What areas?
If they were to continue a form like this, then we'd be talking that maybe not this year, but next year a potential relegation for this side if they keep playing this way. Their time is running out. I'm hoping they can build off against their win against Burnley because there were a lot of positives. You could just see the passion and a lot of the way they were playing there because they know they need to turn things around.
Players who stood out.
I just Gelhart, I mentioned that. Daniel James had a goal at the weekend. That was kind of nice.
Yes, the Welsh Sonic scored.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Joe, are you happy? Joe, are you happy for our Welsh Sonic?
Dude, I could care less. He left and I was happy. That's all I needed to know.
30 million. Anyways, Andrew, lastly, to talk about Leeds, what areas would you strengthen if you're Leeds in January?
Defensively, for sure. I think they've added a few new faces. They've added a few new faces, but I still think it could be better.
I think they need 2 new center backs.
Yeah, like the center, but they need a competent center back, and they need.
Don't worry, they have Pascal Struck.
Yeah, they need to capitalize. I feel like they don't dominate or own any area of the pitch. There aren't really any areas where I'm like, this is where Leeds is better than everybody else, which is what you could say for a lot of other teams, right? I still think maybe if you could get someone like Stuart Dallas has done bits, but I still feel like if you can get just a more exciting midfield to help Rafinha out, that'd be sick, man. That'd be really cool.
Well, to help Rafinha, I mean, Rafinha might be gone. I've been hearing 50 million to Bayern. Thoughts on that?
Yeah, if Rafinha is gone, then that team that's a championship content. Like we should be talking about them going to the championship if Rafinha leaves. It's sad, but this Leeds side there are a lot of questions.
He deserves better.
He does. Do you think? I mean, he's a bench warmer at Bayern if he goes, right?
Yeah.
I mean, so
actually, I don't know. I mean, Rafinha would bring something totally different to Bayern that they don't already have. I think if he goes, I think that's their Kingsley Coman replacement. Because I think Kingsley Coman's leaving on a free at the end of the season. Remember, his contract expires at the end of the season. If he walks away for free and they bring in Rafinha now, I think that's their Kingsley Coman replacement. People could tell me I'm wrong.
They should do a swap deal.
Oh my gosh, that would be unbelievable.
That'd be awesome.
That'd be unbelievable. Next, we have Leicester bottle job City because they bottled it in the Carabao Cup, but they made up for it later. So they didn't play in matchday 17 or 18 series. 18 was postponed to next week. Matchday 19. Now this was just a funny one, losing 6-3 to Man City. Just the score itself, 6-3, 9 total goals. Wow, like that's just crazy. Matchday 20 went beating Liverpool at home. Retribution for getting eliminated and bottling it in the Carabao Cup and not playing in matchday 21. So your scores for Mr. Brendan Rodgers, Mr. Bottle Job, and Leicester, and players that have stood out to you and players who haven't been so great.
Yeah, it's kind of weird to had a couple games. Just kind of talk about, I guess, the important one against Man City. Conceding mistakes. If I could criticize people, probably mark up Brighton. Sterling absolutely shot on him. Schmeichel wasn't good either. Their whole defense wasn't, to be honest, Vestergaard or Marty. They all look pretty vulnerable. Someone who I'll give credit to, James Madison. I feel like I think a couple of weeks ago, I told you guys that you need to step it up, and he did against them. Maybe Southgate will sit up and notice that performance because he was very good. So is Ian Nacho, who his old club, of course, but I guess his old club. I think he's a bright talent, so he has a lot more to do. So yeah, overall, Man City is always a hard team to beat. They did get the win against Liverpool, and that's always impressive. So I'd give them a 6.5.
Fair enough.
Out of 10, if I could.
Fair enough. In terms of areas on the pitch, where would you strengthen if you're Leicester? What areas of the pitch would you
I'd say the defense for sure. I think Michael Brighton at right back is not gonna. I think he's past his days.
Fair enough.
I think they do.
If
They
any-
need to strengthen up their defense. What did you say?
I would say if anyone gets like an excuse for the whole COVID players and having players out, it's Leicester. They beat
Oh, that is
Liverpool
true.
without having any center backs in contention. So it's understandable to see why they scored a lot, but they also conceded a lot because they were missing so many defenders. But they got that one against Liverpool, man. They deserve some credit.
Wait, Andre, what? What?
Andre, I think he's trying to say something. Again, look, I do agree with Sears 100%. I definitely think they need strengthening in their back line. They definitely do. They need reinforcements at center back, 100%. Next, we have Liverpool and Jose. Other than Leicester and Chelsea and Tottenham, they won every game, which was only one, which they beat Newcastle by 3-1. They did what Manchester United couldn't do, which was beat Newcastle. Drawing Tottenham, which a certain player got sent off because he was Scottish, and a certain captain of a nationality didn't get sent off because he is English. Didn't play matchday 19, losing to Leicester by 1-0, obviously, and drawing Chelsea. Jose, scores for Jurgen Klopp in Liverpool and players who have stood out to you, positive and negative.
Yeah, they've been shit, and I'm happy about it. They still can't beat the big teams. They haven't really been able to do that this season very much.
Who does?
What?
They absolutely put us.
Yeah, we're not a big team. Shut up. All right. No, but they drew with Tottenham, they drew with Chelsea, which is very indicative of, I think, the team that they've been this season. They haven't been able to do that much against teams that are actually good. They lost against Leicester, which I thought was really, really surprising and really, really well played by Leicester in that game. Salah's still been good as usual, but I think that I'd maintain my claim from the beginning of the season that Liverpool need some kind of creative midfielder who can really link up the play better between the defense and the offense. I think that they could use someone like I don't know. If I had to say a name, like someone similar to a Modric or Cruz, who can play the ball, who can play accurate passes forward or take the ball forward like Modric does.
Fair enough. Would you think, obviously not now because he's just well past his best. Do you think a Philip Coutinho at his best, someone of that kind of player?
Yeah, absolutely. So, when Felipe Coutinho used to play in the midfield, I think he'd be perfect for this.
Obviously, I don't think Jurgen Klopp would even touch him now. Obviously,
Yeah, no, definitely not.
Of how poor we have so many years now. Do you think they also need to strengthen in their attack as well? I mean, Salah off to AFCON, Sadio Mane off to AFCON, and you're left with Firmino, Jota, who's their best attacker. If after Salah, actually, he's been better than Mane this season. He's their best. He'd be the best attacker of the club. Then you have Firmino, Andre's favorite, hyped up, promising young kid Takumi Minamino, and you have Divock Origi. I've been hearing Rafinha, Jared Bowen. Would you sign any of them or look at someone else?
I would definitely look at someone like, I don't know about Rafinha, maybe Jared Bowen. I don't think they need to think about replacing anyone on the right-hand side, but either someone on the left for Mane. Start thinking about replacing Mane and then start thinking about getting some kind of person to play center forward with Jota or Firmino. So I think Jota will play there for a few years, but Firmino I think will age out soon.
100%, definitely agree. Next, we have Manchester City, and they have won every single game. Wins against Leeds, Newcastle, Leicester, Brentford, and Arsenal, and they did play all 5 games. Surely, Andre, it's a perfect score for Pep Guardiola and Manchester City, and I can't think of any players that have been horrendous, to be honest with you, unless if you can, that haven't been as good, or players that have stood on the negative spectrum. So surely, we'll start with this. Surely it's definitely a 10 out of 10 for Pep Guardiola and Man City.
City. Yeah, they get a 10, man. They've been great. Manchester's blue lately, I gotta say. I mean, wow. Yeah, Guardiola's we talked a lot of trash about him in his first season.
When have you gotten so passionate about Man City?
Look, they're just didn't give them credit. Okay, I'm not passionate about them. I don't know what you're talking about, but they've been amazing. That's it. How many goals did they score in those few matches? I'm gonna count it. Okay, 7 against Leeds, 4 against Newcastle, 6 against Leicester, 1 against Brentford, not much, and 2 against Arsenal. That's incredible. That is incredible.
But the real question is, in terms of just players that you think, or that Manchester City could potentially sign. I've been hearing 2 positions.
Striker is the one.
First off, we'll start with left back because I've been hearing about they want to play João Cancelo back on his natural right hand side. Do you think they really need a left back, or João Cancelo is just good there?
I mean, when you're amazing like they are, you want to stay ahead. So I think they have the money to keep investing. They're gonna still get a lot of money this season from what they accomplish. So yeah, I say why not? I think they should bring in a left back, considering I guess Mendy hasn't been all that great this season, has he? So yeah, we can bring in a left back and a striker are the ones that definitely cry out for attention. I know if Sterling leaves, then maybe you can just look into someone that you can develop now that they've lost Ferran Torres to Barcelona. So yeah, I think there are a few areas that they can get sort of as backups to develop and keep planning for the future to keep being the team that they are and maintain Manchester's blue.
And now lastly, striker. Yeah. Obviously, it's very obvious they've been wanting a striker. Of course, this past summer, Harry Kane, didn't happen. Cristiano Ronaldo, didn't happen. Erling Haaland last summer, didn't happen. Now, do you still think that Manchester City need a focal point and need a striker just to, not that they lack quality, but just to keep on building, keep improving, keep getting better? Or do you think, no, then they're still good with this false 9 thing?
I mean, it's sort of, it seems like a trend in football right now. A lot of teams haven't been reliant on a focal point striker. You look at both City and Chelsea, right? Both of them are kind of like that. You could even, So
Liverpool
I think,
aren't as well.
Liverpool as well.
Yeah. Yeah, and those are the top teams in the league right now. So it's just it's a question of whether football is going to catch up to them, and strikers are going to become a popular necessity again to stay ahead in this league. So I guess at the moment, you'd look at where we are, and you'd say maybe they don't. But yeah, it's just a question of whether everyone's going to catch up. But yeah, if you're first in the league by a gap of like 10 points, they're missing something like a striker, then yeah, they may not need the Hollands and the Kanes and the whoever else, Vlahovic, I've seen too. So yeah, it's an interesting question. I think you strengthen first where what you're missing and what you need to compete right now, then you can plan on a striker for the future. But it might not be as much of a priority as we all think it is. I don't know.
100%, definitely. Next, of course, we have one of the most abysmal teams in the Premier League at the moment, Manchester United. Didn't play in 17 and 18 match weeks. Drawing against Newcastle, happy days. Beating Burnley, which everyone, started getting on me for. Apparently, I have a Scott McTominay agenda. And taking a major L against Wolves, which you got played off the park at Old Trafford, absolutely dominated by Wolves. Jose, scores for Rangnick and Manchester United, and players that have stood out positive and negative.
Yeah, I'd give everyone an F. They've been terrible. They've been making me depressed. I think that the Burnley game was we were lucky that McTominay just couldn't really seem to miss the goal in that game. I think if he hadn't shot it twice, we wouldn't have won that game. I think that we've just been playing like really depressingly terrible. Like I don't want to watch at the moment. I like even in the Burnley game, I turned it off at halftime. I was annoyed. We were up 3-1 and I was annoyed because we were just playing so poorly. I don't really know if our players can play the system that Rangnick wants. Like people like
4-2-2.
I don't really know. I don't know why Sancho keeps playing on the fucking left because he's so shit on the left. He's good on the right, and he never plays over there. I don't know why Van de Beek is still not playing. I don't know why.
He's been all right on the left, to be honest with you. He hasn't been great, but he's been all right.
He's not the worst player, but he's just so much better on the right.
Oh, of course.
And people like Fernandez, I don't even know if he can play in the system because it seems like it doesn't work for his.
That's one thing that I don't understand at all. Like you look at someone like Bruno Fernandes, and anyone with a brain, with the normal footballing brain, will know that he is the gel, the glue to that team. And where do you put your gel and glue? In the heart of the pitch. You put him in the middle of the pitch, the central part of the pitch. And how Bruno's playing on the left or right? Wing. It's baffling, Jose, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
100%.
In January, I think that it's important that we look for a midfielder and a center back. I think I think we have one competent center back at our club at the moment.
And it's Phil Jones, that comeback. He saw that.
Yeah, Phil Jones, yo, bright sparks, Phil Jones. And everyone right now, give a round of applause for Phil Jones. Right now, everyone give Phil Jones a round of applause. Honestly, what literally comes in against Wolves, I'm thinking, oh no, I'm not watching this game. And he puts Raul Jimenez in his pocket for like most of the game.
He does, yeah.
I'm just like, whoa, Phil Jones. But no, that does not. No, Phil Jones still needs to go. It's a one-off. That's very rare. That's arguably the best performance I've probably ever seen from Phil Jones in a Manchester United shirt. Honestly.
Well, it's not even that. It's just that like he'll put that performance in and then he'll go and get injured for 3 more years.
Oh yeah, that too. Yeah. But then he'll score a few more own goals while he's at it as well.
Okay. All right, I have a controversial question. It's an insane hypothetical, but okay, the football is horrible right now. You're not getting results. If you could go back in time, let's say you're still able to appoint Rangnick as a football director in the summer. Would you have kept? If you go back in time, would you have kept Ole just without firing? Would you have given him more time and then just still gotten Rangnick in the summer as a football director?
No.
Would you have appointed? Okay, what about you, Jose? No.
No, you lose 4-1 against Watford, you're out of a job. It doesn't matter. Does not matter.
I think sacking Ole was the correct decision. I don't know about hiring Rangnick as anything other than a director was a good decision.
I 100% agree.
But I would still would have sacked Ole.
100%. I think anyone would. And And look,
And what do you
and
do?
you
Just
had
appoint another, and you just
I guess,
appoint
yeah,
another interim?
I guess just get someone else in for the interim job and then put Rangnick immediately as a director of football or some or whatever position he wants.
I mean, that could still happen, to be fair, possibly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it could. I just think it's such a
not
waste of.
right now.
I
would
think
say
it's a
right now.
waste. It's a waste of the end of the season because I think we need to get Champions League football or Ronaldo's going to leave.
I mean, it's not even the end of the season. I mean, there's a lot to go.
Yeah, there
So
is.
I don't think
there's-
Ronaldo will leave, even if I don't think he'll go.
Really, I don't want him to see. I don't want to see him play in the Europa League. Like I wouldn't. I don't want to watch that.
Oh, of course not. I don't think any fan would.
Like,
I'd rather him leave. If we get Europa League, to be honest, for his
100%.
sake.
And
do you guys buy into like the whole Ronaldo ruined the good?
No, never.
team?
Never. I think that's one of the most ridiculous claims anyone's ever made.
I think
But
this is what I see, right? I don't think he's the biggest reason why, or should be given most of the blame, why Manchester United's struggling right now, especially I'd say going forward as well, because he's bailed us out so many times, as well as David De Gea. It's been one of our best players this season. Facts. But if you look at before he came, I will throw out 3 players: Mason Greenwood, Paul Pogba, Bruno Fernandes. Mason Greenwood firing in goals for fun all August. Paul Pogba, top assist king all in August, was leading the league in assists. Bruno Fernandes playing out of his mind. Cristiano Ronaldo comes in, but because everything wants to be played through him, that limits Bruno Fernandes' ability to be creative. It limits Paul Pogba's ability to get forward and to have shots on goal, because with Cristiano Ronaldo, everything needs to be played through him. I'm not saying that Cristiano Ronaldo's the problem, because I love Cristiano Ronaldo. I don't think he is a problem. I think he's a problem to a certain extent, but he's not as big of a problem as some people are making him out to be. That's my look on it. I think Cristiano Ronaldo is still such a hugely important part of that squad, because he is the winning mentality in that locker room. You have people like himself, Varane, and Bruno Fernandes. And even though Bruno Fernandes hasn't won really anything in his career, Bruno Fernandes has that winning mentality. He wants to be a winner. And you need people like that in the locker room. And the one thing with Ronaldo, just stop moaning. Just stop moaning and groaning constantly. Just get on with the game. Like, I get you're frustrated, but you can't just keep moaning over and over. Like, that's not going to solve any of your problems. But wrapping up on Manchester United, I 100% definitely needs a defensive midfielder of some kind. I can't defend Harry Maguire anymore. I really can't. I can't defend him. I've defended him for way too long. I've had enough of defending him. Harry Maguire he's giving me a headache for me. And for me, our best 2 center backs at the club, it's Varane and Eric Bailly for me. And people are saying, "Oh, Lindelof's been our best center back this season." Well, Victor Lindelof's been our best center back this season, Jose. Well, then you can imagine the state of our defense.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah. Next, we have Newcastle. Series over to you. Losses against Liverpool and Man City. A draw against Manchester United, and they didn't play in match day 20 or 21. Bright scores for Eddie Howe in Newcastle, and bright sparks and players who haven't been as great for Newcastle.
It's a really, really hard schedule playing. I was gonna say 3 good teams, but I noticed they're playing Man U, so playing 2 good teams. Hard schedule. I think if bright sparks. I mean, at least John Joe Shelby scored against his own team, so that's good. So that's good scoring as well. I think that honestly, we know what they need. They honestly need to revamp the whole team because they have the money to do so. Honestly, only keeping a couple players like St. Maximin. Get rid of players like Shelby. They already started. They got Trippier today. So
yeah, 100%. Do you think Trippier will be a good addition for them?
Oh yeah, for sure. Champions League player, experience. He's a solid player, even though he came from Tottenham. So.
100%. And what other areas of the pitch would you strengthen for Newcastle?
I'd honestly say all areas of the pitch. There's literally not one area where
I think their goalkeeping situation's decent enough. I think Dubravka's a decent goalkeeper. I think he's what they have right now.
I think he is. I also like Michelle's a lot. But I think I think a lot of them need to replace. I think Kelly Wilson's more of injury struggles and still a good player. So and so is Joe Willock, but they need a lot more players.
Fair enough. I agree with that 100%. To keep the show moving along, Newcastle for me. I mean, they lost against Liverpool, Man City. They drew against Manchester United, and that's just an accomplishment in and of itself. I mean, I gave Newcastle a B. B minus. I'll give them a B minus as well, which is in numbers. I'll give them roughly a 6. And for Newcastle, that's really good. So, well done to them. Next, Andre, we have Norwich, and they lost all 3 of their games. Lost against Aston Villa, Arsenal, and Crystal Palace, and they didn't play in 18 or 21. Scores for Dean Smith and Norwich, and players that have stood out positive and negative.
Yeah, they get like what? I mean, it's nearly a 2. This is one of the worst teams in Prem history right now, unfortunately.
It's bound to happen.
Yeah, if any other team so much just gets a draw against them, it's immediately a huge disappointment. Like that's how poor this team is right now. I think I don't think anybody has them outside of their relegation contenders this season.
No.
But yeah, they get it too. Let's see if Dean Smith can rebuild in this transfer window and also the next one. But this season just feels a bit too far gone for them right now.
100%. In terms of, I mean, there really haven't been that many great players for Norwich just as a whole, to be honest with you. I mean, even Timu Puki's not firing on goal as much as of right now. I'd say he's been quite poor. I couldn't really pick out any Norwich player to be fantastic, unless if for the viewers and the listeners, and let me know if I'm wrong on that. Quickly, what areas of the pitch would, if in terms of priority, if you had 3 areas to strengthen for Norwich this January, where would you strengthen?
I mean, I see a lot of their fan base kind of using Billy Gilmore as a bit of a scapegoat for the problems.
Like that at all.
Yeah, they've been really harsh on him. So I guess you see that and you figure, okay, they need a competent midfielder, right? They need maybe someone with experience if they don't want to give this young guy a shot. They probably need someone like that. I'd say if they can maximize their width through their fullbacks and just have the rest of their attackers play pretty narrow, that'd be really good. So maybe a competent, pacey fullback would be really good. Obviously not this guy, but maybe someone in the ilk of a Tarek Lamptey would be a cool addition to their team. Yeah, I think those are the 2 areas. I guess third, I'd go center back maybe. Or it'd be fun to have a new attacker, right? Someone that Timo Pukki can kind of train as a protege. But yeah, they could use improvements all over, to be honest.
100%. Next, Southampton. Jose, coming over to you. Drawing against Palace, didn't play in match 18. That's postponed to next week. A win against West Ham and a draw against Tottenham, not playing in match day 21. Scores for Southampton and Ralph Hasenhüttl and players that have stood out.
Yeah, I've been really impressed with Southampton recently. I think that the draw against Palace and the win against West Ham, the draw against Tottenham are all pretty impressive results in terms of how good the other teams have been this season. In terms of scores, I'd probably give them a B plus, A minus. And then areas of the pitch to be adjusted in January. I think that they've gotten a bunch of pacey strikers. Maybe it's time to try something different. Time to get like a poacher or someone who will sit in the box and get on the end of a cross.
Now, Fox in the box, I think that's actually just what they need.
Especially with how good James Ward-Prowse has been in the past few games. He's been on fire.
100%, yeah, definitely.
I want to see Ward-Prowse in an England shirt, like at least getting a run. I want to see how he does because he'd be so useful. I don't know. I mean, I know you have some good set piece takers, but I just want to see what it'd be like.
Well, Andre, to quickly answer that question, is Ward-Prowse a Gareth Southgate favorite? Yes or no? It's just a quick yes or no question.
No.
Okay, there you go. And that shows his hopes of getting in an England shirt anytime soon. And real quickly on Southampton today, they were taken over by their brand new owner and Serbian billionaire Dragan Solak, a 100 million pound takeover. So who knows? Maybe investments are going to be made in January. Who knows? Andre, coming over to you, and that is the dead club. Tottenham Hotspur. Didn't play in match day 17. A draw against Liverpool, a win against Crystal Palace, and a draw against Southampton. Brilliant performances from Dele Alli and Harry Winks, of course, and a win against Watford. Scores for Antonio Conte and Tottenham Hotspur here, and players who have stood out in negative and positive ways.
Conte gets like a 9. Okay, still undefeated. Had a couple disappointing results, mainly just Southampton. But we did have 3 goals disallowed, and Southampton play like such a-holes. But yeah, Conte gets a 9, and we're finishing second this season. And just want to say that we are. Just so you know, you're gonna regret doubting us. We're still undefeated right now, and we're gonna finish second. It's gonna be great. Players that have not been, oh wait, I'd be stupid not to point out this is not players that haven't been great. Players that have been surprisingly good have been Harry Winks. I mean, he's been great lately. He did that performance against Liverpool, obviously. He's been great. I'm just so excited because it'll add to his transfer value a bit, and we can bin him. I've been happy with everyone, to be honest. Davinson Sanchez and our whole center backs have been good, but there's a time limit to that. They have no consistency, so I think we still need someone else.
Andre,
yeah, ask your questions.
Would you at least keep Juice World until the end of the season? Yes or no?
Who the hell?
Dele Alli.
Oh, that's funny. I like the haircut. No, I think a loan move is cool. I think I'd like to see him just what he does in the Bundesliga, go to like just sort of a fast-paced, exciting team, and then maybe he can come back and do something. But no, I would look for a loan move for him. The one that I would keep is Bergwijn. There have been a few exit rumors. I know Conte. He seems like he wants a lot of new players in January, though. We're heavily linked to Traore right now. I don't know if you guys knew this, but Doherty supposedly everyone is saying is gone. He's already gone to Wolves. I don't know if you guys knew that. It's not announced yet, but a lot of reliable people are saying that Doherty's gone and he's mad about it. Whether that's to finance a deal for Traore, I kind of hope not. Our whole fan base is divided about it. We have a limit to spend, like it's like 400 million, but we probably only have like 70. So let's just see how we use it. But I'm really happy about my team right now.
Yeah, 100%. I don't think anyone could blame you. Next series coming to you in Watford. They didn't play at all from match days 17 and 19, and they lost to West Ham and Tottenham. Scores for Claudio Ranieri and Watford. And what areas on the pitch do you think they need to address, as well as bright sparks and players who haven't been as great?
Agreed.
I agree.
Insightful.
Incredibly insightful points there from Side Guy there, and really well said. Since Side Guy is he is gone completely missing. He's pulling a Aubameyang, and he's just gone missing under the invincibility cloak. For me, Watford. I mean, the 2 games that they played were against teams that they were never going to beat anyways. They still lost both games, so I guess I'll give them a C as well. There's not really a whole lot they could do, especially the 2 teams that they're playing against. Players who have been on the good side. Emmanuel Dennis continues to perform. He continues to shine. I think he's only 1 goal behind Salah right now. 1 or 2 goals behind Mohamed Salah. I think I could be wrong. He's only a few goals behind Salah, so he's right up there. And
he's 8 goals behind Salah.
Oh, he's 8. I thought it was only a few. Okay, good thing then. I was wrong then though. But
he's level with Ronaldo, so
but nonetheless, he's still been fabulous this season. He's been performing well for Watford. He really has. Someone who I think has dropped off is Molly Sarr. I think has dropped off, not tremendously, but I think just a little bit. And areas that I think Watford can definitely strengthen. I definitely think that they can get a half decent center back in there. I think a central midfielder a younger central midfielder for me, a creative midfielder. I think they could definitely use with someone like that. Next, we have West Ham and Jose. Of course, not playing no, they did play match day 17, losing 2-0 to the Arsenal. They didn't, of course, play in match day 18. That was postponed to next week. Losing to Southampton in match day 19, of course, beating Watford in match day 20, and just beating Crystal Palace in match day 21. Scores for David Moyes and West Ham, players that have stood out positive and negative. And where do you think that they should invest in January?
Yeah, they've been all right. I'd probably give them a C. I think that they've been inconsistent, but they've played some teams that have been good, and I think that they have the opportunity to recover in the next few games. I would hope for their sake that they do. I think that someone who's had the opportunity to shine a lot more is what's his name, Manuel Lanzini, especially in Benrahma's absence. He's been a lot better than he was at the beginning of the season, and he's kind of come into his form very well.
100%. Wait, what did you say you would give Moyes and West Ham so far? Oh wait, yeah, you said you gave him a C. In terms of January, where would you invest?
I don't know. They think they're very well rounded at the moment. Maybe
Really? I think they lack depth in certain areas of the pitch.
Well, they definitely lack depth, but I think overall they have a good team. If you want to talk about where they could use some depth, I'd probably go striker. I mean, you look at Mikel Antonio. He's their only good. I think he's really their only good striker at the moment. They lost Haller, obviously, to Ajax.
He's smashing it for Ajax this season. He's been doing brilliant.
Yeah, he's been really good. I think that that backup striker could be big for them. Maybe some more depth in midfield. I mean, you look at Souček and Rice. I don't know if there's anyone else behind them who can play.
Mark Noble.
Well, yeah, I've got Mark Noble
to the end of the season.
That's about it. But yeah, I'd go maybe defensive midfield and striker.
Definitely 100%. I definitely agree with that. And last and surely not least, we have Wolves. Andre, coming to you. They beat Brighton 1-0 at the MX, drawing the best manager in the world side 0-0. Then they didn't play in match day 19, not in match day 20. And they beat Manchester United, at Old Trafford, where they just absolutely dominated all over the pitch. They won 1-0. Scores for Bruno Lage and Wolves, and players that have stood out on the positive and negative. And what areas do you think that they should invest in January?
I really like what we're seeing from this new Wolves side. I think Bruno Lage is actually doing a really great job. I'd give him maybe like a 7, an 8. I think there's a lot to build off of. They have a lot of solidity right now. Players that are standing out are definitely Ruben Neves and João Moutinho have both been. You can really get the idea that they're anchoring this side. They're using their experience, their leadership to really pull these guys together. Connor Cody and Ruben Saiz too have been really. They've had a number of good individuals, and they're playing with a lot of consistency. I think in January it'd be cool if they can introduce some sort of exuberant young attacker that's willing to take more shots and get into good areas. You look at Everton of Anthony Gordon, and we mentioned Gelhardt from Leeds earlier. I kind of considered United have Mason Greenwood also.
And also Bukayo Saka, of course, who Andre loves to praise.
Not a goal scorer. I have mixed feelings about Saka. I just think if Wolves can just get a couple, they're good at developing players. So if they can get someone in that really good environment, then they're going to learn what it's like to play in this league, because they're an aggressive side. They know what it's like to have to grind out results. And that this Wolves side they're going to stick in the Prem for a couple of seasons.
Do you think Wolves, lastly, before we go to just these 3 games next week, where we'll give our quick fire predictions, last question, do you think Wolves really miss the presence of Pedro Neto?
Yeah, I think so, because they're wingers are not.
And I think Wolves lack that right now.
They need to get more out of their wingers, which is why
I agree with that. Definitely.
They definitely need to get more out of their wingers. That'd be the key to just getting more goals in, because that's the one thing they're not doing great right now, and it's not their striker. They have Raul Jimenez. So it's just, yeah, they just need a couple of new attackers, and then this Wolves side is back in as a serious team again.
100%. And now, really quickly, there are 3 games of next week, so I thought let's hear our predictions. Andre, starting with you, Southampton playing Brentford. What are you saying for this game?
I'll edge it out to Southampton. I'll go 2-1.
Okay. Jose, what about you?
I think Southampton have a greater chance of winning, but I call it a draw. I'd go 1-1.
I personally agree with Andre. I think that Southampton will just edge it. They've been impressive, Southampton, as you yourself said, Jose. So I go 2-1 as well. Everton versus Ball Job FC, aka Leicester. Andre?
Yeah, Leicester are missing a few guys, but I still think they can get the better of Everton. I'll go Leicester. I'll go 1-0, 2-0, something like that.
All right. Jose, what about you?
Yeah, I'd go Leicester 2-1.
Yeah, again, I'll agree with Jose. I'll go 2-1 as well for me. And lastly, before we end the stream, West Ham versus Norwich. It's a West Ham win for me. I'll say 3-0 West Ham.
Yeah, I go 3-1 West Ham.
Yeah, I'll do 3-1 also. That's good.
All right, fair enough. And unfortunately, Sirius, as I said, Paul and the Aubameyang went missing. But that is it. There you have it. Thank you for listening or watching this wherever you are in the world, listening or watching the Premier League Primetime. Smash a like on this video. Please subscribe to the channel. We are now actually over 100 subscribers. Finally. Yes, finally. So, big up all yourselves. So there you have it. Smash like on this video, subscribe. And
wow, we got 100 subscribers. That's enough.
And let us know your thoughts on what's been going on in the Premier League as of recent. Let us know what you think the clubs should do in January. And wherever you are watching this in the world, have a great day or evening.